Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish and welcome to Medieval Kingdoms Total War 1212 AD. And the date of the 12th of December is soon approaching, and oh baby, are there some Christmas presents under the tree. The brand new update is coming to the Steam Workshop so that everybody can play it, and oh my god, does it contain some amazing stuff, especially if you haven't touched the mod since last December. There have been just absolutely insane amount of content added to this mod, and I highly recommend, if you've been holding off from playing the beta over on their Discord, or you've been just holding off on playing 1212 just entirely, now is the time to get into it. It is absolutely amazing the amount of work that they've got in this, and I'll just run through a list of the new stuff, and this isn't all of it, this is just some of it. So they've got a brand new population system which is dynamic. There's 4 classes that grow, and that's completely tied in to the building system. There's also a new battle system overhaul. They went through all the stats and rebalanced them and changed them. There are now cannon elephants, so one of the factions like in Medieval 2 now have cannons melted onto elephants. Is absolutely awesome. There are now a complete tech tree, so the early, late and high period all have complete tech trees working for them, and you'll definitely see that, you know, it takes a while to get through it, so you're going to have to focus on that technology early on, especially if you're playing more of the Western nations who have a lot of building slots. You're going to have to kind of build libraries quite quickly. There are also custom cutscenes. At the moment there is only one custom cutscene for the 5th Crusade that fires fairly early. However, they are planning on adding in more cutscenes to go ahead and give life to the campaign, which I think is really awesome. There are now decisions to create certain factions, such as restoring the Persian Empire, forming Italy, forming the Kingdom of Spain as one of the Iberian factions, as well as the Reconquista, and just everything like that. There's loads of really cool, unique decisions that you can do, and it's all piled into its own UI. Very cool stuff indeed. There is a brand new Holy Roman Empire system that takes the Europa Universalis HRE and brings it into Total War, giving you access to vote on the next electors, pass reforms, go ahead and regain imperial land. And there's also a very exciting mission early on as Otto IV gets excommunicated as Frederick, I think he's called Frederick, of Sicily. You have missions to go and overthrow him and take control of the HRE, which again is really exciting. The Iberians and West North African unit rosters have been completely revamped, and there's about 15 different factions here that all have their complete units rosters completely revamped, which, yeah, again, pretty crazy how many factions are there. There is a brand new Iron Man mode and custom achievements, so you can go ahead and try and grind your way through that. Larger battlefields themselves are now 2 times bigger, so you can obviously kind of choose your defensive positions or decide where you're going to attack from much more efficiently, and especially in the larger battles, I think this mod is much needed. There are now lots of new unit cards to go ahead and just update the older ones. A new nicknaming system, so that when you actually do an action, that has consequences to your name. So if you go ahead and murder everyone, then you're going to be called so and so the murderer. You know, stuff like that will go ahead and create a unique experience, and again get you tied to characters. Obviously they had it in Medieval 2, and it's a much missed system from newer Total Wars. We also have region trading has been added into the game. Goddamn Creative Assembly, you got some stuff to be doing here, because, you know, modders are adding back in region trading because it's a smart idea, as well as gifting a faction. You can go ahead and gift a faction a settlement when you conquer it, so you don't have to take it and then give it to someone. You do just have the option to gift it to a certain faction, which is nice, especially if maybe your ally loses a settlement, you reconquer it but you don't want it, you can just click the button to gift it to them. Again, really nice. The replay bug has been completely fixed, so replays now work when you can still move units, which is great. Tier 2 and Tier 3 units have been added to the campaign, so you can play from start to finish now and not have to worry about running out of interesting units. You'll completely go through the technology tree and completely update your units. Trebuchets have been added, as well as cities have been changed their building slots from 10 slots to from 6 to 10 slots. So again, this might not be something that you guys are aware of. There are no provinces in the game. Every single city is individual, and they each have 10 building slots now, which allows you to really kind of specifically build your cities. And again, they do take a lot of growth to build up your settlements, but it makes for, I think, a much more interesting gameplay and allows you to really have a lot of say, because there are so many cool different buildings. I believe as well as that the economy has been completely reworked with the building system. So it really allows you to build these kind of interesting cities instead of just having to be like, being like, oh, I'm just going to build this here, this there, this there. You actually have to think about it and really try and plan out what you're going to be doing. So let's jump into a campaign and we'll go from there. Again, obviously, as you can see, 1 trillion factions. There's so many, and again, a lot of these factions do have unique missions or unique decisions for them to take part of. We're going to be playing as the Kingdom of Sicily. You can see we have 72,000 population in our cities. We are a Catholic Christian, and we also have a pretty nice ability which gives us more loyalty, gives us some research, which is actually really, really good, and also sanitation, and also a growth to our noble cap. However, we do take a bit of a debuff to the Catholic factions. So if we jump in, I don't think there's anything else here that specifically we need to take a look at. Victory objectives. No, cool. We can just jump in and we'll quickly take a look around all these new mechanics that I did just mention. But yeah, as you can see, there are so much stuff that has been added, and probably some stuff that I've completely missed as well, that maybe has gone under the radar since the past year that this mod came out on Steam. As well as that, they also have a revamp of the crusading system as well. Something I mentioned, I forgot to mention on my list. They've completely revamped the crusading system. So after the 5th crusade that is fixed, you can call new crusades that will allow you to pick from a list. So you can have these more organic, unique crusades rather than having just to follow history, which again, awesome stuff, and it will allow you to go and have some fun. And I'm sure they're planning on adding in like a jihad system with a reclaim lost land. Again, that'll be very exciting. As well as that, in the future updates, they are also planning on adding in a College of Cardinal system, more custom cutscenes, new emerging factions, a playable island with new unit rosters, as well as a bunch of unit reworks for the Byzantines, which again, super cool stuff. That stuff's going to be coming probably in the next patch after this one. Maybe, I don't know, there's probably quite a lot of work for me just to make that bold claim, but they said coming soon, so I imagine it would be in a later update when they do finally update this. So we also have papal influence as well. This is something you gain from doing missions for the Pope. You can spend that on decisions that give you money. War wariness is also has been reworked as well. This has been in the game for a while though, but it's probably been fine-tuned to make it so that if you do go to war, it's not going to hurt you immediately. But it is going to build up over time, and you're going to be taking these minor debuffs that inevitably, if you keep on losing wars, will go into a much larger debuff to your faction and to your morale. Maybe, I think it's mainly to public order, but yeah, it can get pretty crazy the further you do go. So we'll take a look. I guess we'll start off by taking a look at population. Population can be found right down here, and you can see it in the left-hand side. It tells you how much population you have in a city and the several classes. There are currently 5 classes, but tribesmen isn't something that a lot of Western factions do have to worry about, or even a lot of Eastern factions. I think it's much more for like the nomadics, like the Mongols and other factions like that. Also, the Black Death is in the campaign as well. If you hit, I think it's around turn 80 when the no, it's actually much later now. I think it's like turn 120. The Black Death hits and it just ruins your economy. It's absolutely brutal. Oh yeah, and something else I should mention as well. The game is now 2 turns per year rather than 4, allowing you to get much more connected to your characters. And I much prefer that change. It does start the timeline. I mean, you have to play longer to kind of get to much more of these historic dates, but I still think it's much better to play on 2 years per turn because you get much more connected to your characters and you just don't just have everyone dying constantly with a 1 turn per year. But anyway, as you can see, you have a set of population. All these populations are tied to certain units. So for example, to recruit this unit right now, it would go ahead and cost me the Burghers. The Burghers are kind of like your middle class, the units that are the people who can kind of afford decent equipment. So they're going to kind of be your main front line. So again, you're going to be kind of pooling from your Burgher population pretty heavily for all your basic units. There are going to be some units that do come from the lower class, and they're again going to be a unit you're going to have to mix and match with. So just having this kind of limiter of the ability to build all these units just from one superclass is really interesting, because right here you can see these guys come from these actually come from the Burghers, but we have so much Burgher population in Naples. Holy god damn, that's amazing. So yeah, we're really gonna have to kind of think about where you're recruiting from, because it's gonna matter. You can run out of recruitable units and just get overrun in certain settlements. Yeah, luckily Naples is brimming. I guess it makes sense, right? and probably a settlement you're going to look to upgrade very, very quickly. And you can also see we do have a flat amount of burghers and peasants, and there's also a percentage next to them. So this is also something that's pretty important. Again, you might just want to allow the burghers population to grow, so you might not want to recruit from it and just keep on letting it go up. I think right now it's actually hit a cap, and I can actually see what's affecting this by clicking this button, and it will go through each of a population and tell me what's exactly hitting it. So right now we're only getting a 0.25 boost from buildings right now, whereas the peasants are getting a bit of a boost as well. And you can kind of go through and just be like, oh, okay, that's what's affecting it. Okay, well, maybe I'm going to want to build this certain building that goes ahead and improves my population, so I can get more and more of it. And when you get debuffed, it will appear in that screen as well, which is really cool. The next thing we can take a look at is going to be the Holy Roman Empire system. This has been brought in, kind of heavily influenced by the Europa Universalis system, which I think is very smart because that's a very good system, and I think it's awesome to have it in Total War. Obviously, the modders have adjusted it and changed it to kind of give you more of that Total War feel. So you do obviously have the detail. This is the current, sorry if I click on it, this is the current Emperor of the HRE, Otto, and you can see who's voting for him in the electors. You can also see that I believe I am a pretender as well to it. Yeah, you can see that I am also a pretender to the throne, and I can try and cast a vote for myself. I don't think I'm actually in the HRE because I'm only a pretender right now, and I'm not actually in the HRE, so my vote doesn't actually count for anything. However, once I do kill the current king or the current emperor, I take over. There's like a really cool mission tree that we'll look at in a second. But basically, the HRE or the emperor himself can pass these decrees to go ahead and gain more control throughout the HRE, and obviously each one of these goes ahead and gives you more tax rate or more levies, or gives you control over papal authority. And you'll be spending this imperial authority up here, which will give you the ability to pass more reforms. So you're going to obviously want to have more and more of this as much as you can, so you can pass more reforms. And you obviously gain this by obviously being the emperor, and also having regions inside the HRE. So again, if, say, for example, you lose a bunch of Holy Roman Empire land, that's going to affect how much imperial authority you have, and that's going to affect how many edicts you can go ahead and pass, which is very interesting. It also becomes, a much different game than just conquering everything. You're also going to be wanting to make the HRE strong and kind of repel back the invaders. If you see Bohemia or say, I don't know, maybe Switzerland's being attacked by the French, you're going to want to go ahead and intervene in that war to stop them from conquering your land, which again makes for a much different playstyle of just like, I'm going to conquer everything and it's all about me. You actually have to try and just protect the HRE and improve the borders, especially with the new gifting system as well. You can really build up your allies and build up the other members of the Holy Roman Empire. You can still fight within the HRE, but it is kind of frowned upon, and you will get a few debuffs, but nothing major. When you start conquering a lot, though, you will get a lot of debuffs with the other HRE. So you kind of have like a limit. You're kind of treading a line, and then eventually you will kind of get pushed over the edge, and the HRE will be like, what the hell are you doing? You need to chill out, even if you are the Emperor. So yeah, you kind of have to bide your time, think about where you're going to conquer and go from there. But yeah, so again, you can also pass decrees as well. These decrees are down here. These are kind of for a set period of time, and they give bonuses to not only you if you're the emperor, but also to everyone else inside the empire as well. So again, it's a really kind of cool system of like, I'm building up my allies, I'm also trying to make sure that I'm powerful and that everyone's going to vote for me to become the next emperor and keep the emperorship. It's very exciting indeed, especially if you constantly like lose heroes as well. Like, maybe my king gets killed in battle, and then maybe Austria takes over and I'm kind of battling with them and I need their general to die, so maybe I'll go to war with them. It's a very, very exciting system, and I think has a lot of interesting gameplay in Total War. Next, we have the decision tab. So the decision tab has a handful of special decisions that you can go ahead and pick from, and that's found right here. Here we have the ability to found Italy, and there's a really cool map just to show you what regions you need to form Italy. Again, really kind of just a nice little addition right there. You can also hover over this and I'll tell you, but I think the map makes a really nice addition. Every faction has the ability to found an empire, and that will change your name from the Kingdom of Sicily to the Empire of Sicily if you don't have a specific formation event. You can also ask the Pope for money and you'll spend papal influence. I think at the moment this is really one of the only things you spend papal influence on. Maybe that and calling a new crusade after the 5th crusade, I would imagine, would be the case. Obviously as well, we've clicked on it, but buildings themselves are now up to 10 slots, so you can have 10 building slots. Obviously it's all tied to growth, and after about 6 building slots, things do get a bit crazy when it comes to growth. Obviously, taking 7 here, I imagine over here it will take even more and probably inevitably take like 20 growth points. So cities will grow very fast at the beginning, but will slow up when you hit around about 5 building slots, and then you'll have to go to 7. So it's something you're going to have to manage, and obviously as the city gets bigger and bigger, you're going to have to worry about sanitation, and that's actually an important thing in this mod, because if you constantly are having diseases throughout your kingdom, that's going to start killing population, and that's going to affect your military as you want to build more soldiers. You're not going to, because your cities are diseased and you're losing soldiers. You now got to remember that, your troops are going to have to take actual soldiers to replenish. So you can't just replenish everyone willy-nilly. You're going to have to think about where you're going to be building these units and kind of where your population is going to be from. And like, oh, I have this many recruits here. Okay, that's fine. Let's focus on that. And, it's going to be very interesting, especially when you conquer land and you have to worry about the population in that land as well. We already said this, but technology has also been completely added up to the late period. I think at the moment, it takes a long time, 330 turns if you want to go from one end to the tree to the other, and because of that, it's kind of show like, technology was very slow at the beginning of the Middle Ages, but obviously as you go further on, it did kind of speed up a lot more, so you're going to really want to focus in on building libraries, and you have so many different building slots you can build from. This is kind of probably the biggest tree from the plaza. It's kind of where the buildings kind of do spur off, but there are several other buildings. If I just show this really quickly, you can see the other building trees, but yeah, this is kind of like the biggest one. This is like your basic, this is just a plaza, and then we can build on from this, and from here you can build taverns, which give you spies and assassins. You can build stuff that gives you money, stuff that gives you bonuses to your money, as well as growth. You can build like noble villas, which are great, and this also, I believe, does give you the ability to recruit more noble units, I think so, as well as some food as well, which is kind of cool. You got your brick maker that improves the cost of buildings, and maintenance cost as well, because some buildings do cost money. You got a fairground that makes you a ton of cash, but brings in other negatives like different religions and squalor and public order, especially as you go further on down the line. +6 squalor here to the merchants quarter. Yeah, that definitely adds up. Libraries, which is something that you're going to want to build probably almost immediately, just to try and get your research going quite quickly. And again, with 10 building slots, you can build libraries and not have to think, oh, that's such a waste of a building. You've got these buildings that go ahead and create law and order with courts, and then you also have the theatre as well, which gives some nice bonuses. But as you can see, a lot of these buildings do all have negatives to them, so that's something you're going to have to weigh up and really kind of think about how that's going to affect you. You also have the ability right here, so you have obviously a family tree, you have your offices as well, and you can assign a handful of governors. But something you're going to want to be careful of, you're not going to want to go ahead and just assign governors to everywhere, because you are going to start losing power. You're going to have to think about trying to keep control of your realm, and you're going to want to obviously have as much power within your own settlement as possible, because as you go further along this power line, you get a pretty big hit to your integrity of your armies and also to your loyalty. Armies do take a fairly big debuff when you are in enemy territory to their integrity, and that's something you're going to have to really think about down here, because armies fighting abroad will really struggle. You can see I'm getting a -1 for being on foreign soil, and the longer I stay on this foreign soil, it's going to hurt me. So you kind of almost have to think about keeping your armies a bit further, further in for any territory to build that up. I think fortifications really help to boost that integrity. But yeah, there's a lot of like effects that can just build up on that. Obviously, we also have edicts as well. So if we just go here and we stick this guy in, is it Apple? Yeah, it's this one right here. If I stick them in here and I try and do an edict, you can see that all the edicts have also been reworked to give you certain bonuses. Again, I'd probably say that one of the best ones is just the growth one in the early game. Where is they removed? No, it's this one right here. Yeah, it gives you 20% more money from commerce, growth, as well as more money from agriculture. I think it's definitely one of the best ones. But this is also quite a good one as well, religious tolerancy, especially if you're conquering heathens. It does reduce the ability to convert people, but it also does give you a much bigger debuff, because again, public order with foreign religions is really, really heavy, and something you're going to have to worry about. And yeah, you can already see down here, when we've got 70% of religion under Catholicism, we're already starting to get a bit of a debuff. So building priests and other units like that are going to be very important. So let's just quickly end the turn. I can show you guys one of the new missions that have been added into the game that, are very, very interesting, adding a lot of flavor for a faction. like Sicily, who obviously have a lot of history around this point. I imagine if you play in Spain, and I mean, actually, I say that in Spain you have the massive battle, which is really cool. You start off with, I can't remember what the battle's called, but you start off with the major battle where you're fighting for the whole of Spain, basically, whether you play as Portugal, Aragon, or Castile, or if you play as any of the Alamaid Caliphates, I think is what they're called, in the south of Spain, and you basically fight for dominance over Spain in that one massive battle to begin with. I love how the game starts with just a huge battle. First thing you click, you dive into a battle. It's awesome. I might even just show you at the end of the video because it's so cool. Obviously, you have the Magna Carta in England. Like, there's so much cool, crazy stuff going, and this is kind of a bit of a taste of what you'll be getting. So basically, you know, you can see that Pope Innocent is basically excommunicating the Emperor, and you have a decision to make. You declare war on the Holy Roman Empire, and so again, this is a thing as well. You're not going into war with everyone in the Empire, just the Holy Roman Empire himself, so just the faction of the HRE, not everyone involved in it. Or you can just say no, and like maybe some events will pop off from that later on. But yeah, we're just going to say we're going to press our claim, and then we'll go to war with him. So again, as you can see, we aren't at war with the HRE, with the other members of the HRE, just the Emperor himself. And obviously also the Kingdom of England, because they're allied towards one another to scare off France as they grew up. So again, and you're going to have to think about that. Like, and I really like doing this. I was playing this last night, and I really liked the idea of like, not just like kind of conquering my own land, like not just conquering every bit of land next to me. Like, I was actually traveling through people's lands. I was trying to get, you know, military access with people so that I could pass through their lands, and it was kind of fun just sending an army far away from my territory. It felt kind of a little bit more historical, because obviously a lot of time in history, factions didn't just conquer what was ever next to them. They sent armies, you know, a lot of, you know, armies went from Spain to sack Rome, and so did France went down, you know, and they went through other territory, and it really felt kind of alive. And I think you'll get that feeling in the HRE quite a lot, that you do want to, you know, just not necessarily conquer land next to you. There might be a few cities you want to pick up, but again, you're going to be pushing off. And here you go. This is, again, another mission that I wanted to show off right here, that, you know, you basically, all you have to do is you need to conquer Frankfurt or kill the Holy Roman Emperor, and you'll get a nice little bonus, and you'll become the new emperor yourself, which, again, is kind of a cool little objective. So you basically take your army, you either get military access, or you just say screw it, because if you do that mission, you do get a nice little bonus with all the other Catholic nations, which will be everyone around you. So you can kind of just march through people's land and take that debuff through diplomacy, or you can just say screw it. You can also see as well trading regions as well. If I wanted to, you know, for example, give a bit of my land to these guys, I just go boom, 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 and now this faction has some of my land. I've just gone ahead and gifted them this city. And I don't know if you can ask for land from people, if you can demand that they send you land. There's no one here with only, like, everyone around me has one settlement. Maybe England can do it. Can I demand? Oh, we're at war, so it's probably not going to help. Yeah, everyone else around me is multiple, only one settlement. So I'm not sure if you can demand cities. I don't think you can, but maybe you can. Maybe I am mistaken. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's a big overview. Let's just load in as one of these Spanish factions really quickly so I can show you the battle. But yeah, I mean, now is the time to play. There's so much content added in the game, and honestly, I think one of the only things that are really missing from, like, making this mod, like, obviously they're going to continue to polish all these features and add to these features, but I think really one of the only things that are really, like, missing from the campaign are mercenaries, naval units, and custom settlements. Like, it's literally only those three, and now obviously those three are a lot of work, especially for custom settlements, but once they're added, I don't think there's, like, you know, I don't know what else they could add after that, because, like, once that's done, I feel like this mod is very complete, and obviously they're going to continue to polish this mod for years to come, hopefully, and I'm really, really looking forward to that. So let's just find Castile. I guess is probably the easiest one to do. Where the hell are Castile? There's so many factions, it is kind of hard to find them. Scotland, Portugal are part of the battle. Yeah, it's Portugal, Aragon, and Castile. But I want to show you as Castile. There they are, right there. Yeah, because it's really cool. So when you load up as Castile, you basically just get dived immediately. Before you can do anything, you just play as a big old battle. I can't remember what the battle's called. I've said it so many times, but it just slips my mind right now. And I think that's just so much fun, just having a major battle to kick off the game. I wish all Total War games honestly did this, because I think it just throws you into the combat immediately, and you're just like, oh baby, this is awesome. Yeah, this is the battle for Spain, and if you win it, you go ahead and gain a bunch of bonuses to reconquer the rest of Iberia, and if you lose it, then you get a bunch of debuffs, and obviously the Alamid Caliphate, I think, the Alamid Caliphate gets a bunch of bonuses. So a really, really cool kind of system. And again, you're only going to be commanding one of these armies. Oh no, Portugal didn't come? Oh, it's Navarra, Aragon, and Castile. Okay, Portugal didn't come, my mistake. It's the battle of like Las Navaras or something like that. I'm sure you guys will let me know in the comments down below. I'm so close. But yeah, you can just dive in and play as this huge battle. If I just auto resolve it really quickly as well, I can show you some of the Spanish stuff as well. There's obviously also Holy Order units in the game. Did we win? Oh, huzzah, we won. So you don't actually have to fight it if you're playing as a Spanish, I guess. It does seem like it's 50-50, so maybe you can claim a victory there. Boom. And that's how you just start the campaign with a huge battle. But yeah, you have loads of stuff for like forming Spain. And you also have events. I don't know if it fires right away. Obviously, you have all your missions as well and all your custom buildings. And again, that's going to be really exciting because every like region around Spain themselves, and like, you know, every region you fight in is going to have completely different building setup, you know. Obviously, Italy itself is much more developed, as you can see. A lot of my Italian settlements had, you know, 5 building slots already, whereas, you know, obviously Spain, maybe England and France and stuff won't be as developed, especially as you go further out to more of the tribal stuff. And yeah, you have like missions like this, Reconquested or Reconquista, where you get huge bonuses to Christianity, but you have to conquer the whole of Spain to achieve that, or the majority of Spain to do that, or at least put it into Christian hands. And the Alamid Caliphate will also have a very similar stuff. Oh, Sicily went to war with the factions in Carthage at this time. Interesting, yeah. So yeah, it's just an amazing update. Obviously, with all the new units and the battle stuff, you obviously have all the achievements you can try and claim as well. This is not something where I looked at, but yeah, there's a bunch of achievements in-game that you can try and take. So it's just really interesting and amazing work by the mod team. There's obviously still a bunch of stuff that I haven't shown off, like the new nickname system, the battles themselves, the reworked of battle system. You know, this is a lot of campaign stuff I've been showing off, but yeah, it's really exciting. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to this. Remember, on the 12th of the 12th, you're going to be able to play this on Steam. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. I'm also going to be streaming this Sunday some of this campaign. So if you want to see more of the update before it does come out, make sure you tune in on Sunday. I'll put a comment down below so you guys can know a bit more about it. And that is also a charity stream as well. So it'd be awesome to see you guys there. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed what you saw. Let me know what you thought of the new update down below in the comments. And I'll see you guys in the next one.